Hi, my name is Tom from Mark My Words, and in this video, we are going to be talking about something that is very interesting to quite a lot of our customers. So we're getting asked about it quite a lot because it seems like an interesting concept. And what I mean is a skill-based planning in Big Picture. So Big Picture has the skills available in the resources module. So while you're managing your resources, you can also do something that is called the skill-based planning. And this is what we are going to be explaining today and showing how you can actually incorporate the skills into whatever is happening within your projects in your company. So there are a couple of things that are necessary for you to be working with skills. Number one, you need to have the list of skills defined. Checked. In our system, we already have them, so no worry about that. Number two, you need to assign skills to your employees, right? So to kind of indicate what a certain person can do, what role the certain person can have in your project. So this is already checked in our system as well. Number three, you need to assign skills to the tasks in your project. So this is already done in our system, and this is something I'm going to show you right here. We have the project called skill-based planning example, right? This is, of course, our box, which contains kind of our project. If you don't know what the box is, just imagine that it's a project and that's it. No need to dive into more details in this video. And now we have a list of tasks in our project, and some of them at the beginning are all around the business analysis. Then we have one task for designer. Then we have several tasks for development. Then, of course, we need to test things, and we want to finish it up with writing a good documentation. So this is how our workflow of work breakdown structure is going to look like, right? We are going to be designing things or analyzing things at first. Sorry, yeah, analyzing definitely. Then we are going to design whatever the UI and interfaces are going to be, and of course prepare for the development, which is going to be happening here in this area. Then at the end of the development and after the development ends, we're going to do some tests here in yellow, and somewhere during the development and during the tests and one day more after the tests, we're also going to be working on the documentation, both admin documentation and user documentation, right? So this is our tiny project, but of course we don't need a big one to have a nice example. So we have a work breakdown structure, we have our tasks, we have those tasks assigned to specific skill. What does it mean? Well, we are basically saying that to complete the task, we need this particular skill, right? So we need a person who is going to be able to perform certain activities that are necessary to complete the task. So now, of course, if you are talking now about people, about resources, we should probably move to a different place. So we're thinking, of course, about the resources module in Big Picture. But actually, before I go to the resources module, I'm going to go to the teams module, right? Because to work with the resources, I will want to create some kind of a team in my project, right? So what do I know? I know I will need a business analyst. I know I need a designer. I know I need a developer. I know I need a tester. And I also know I need a technical writer who is going to be able to write the documentation, right? So this is the kind of team I'm going to create. So let's create a new team. We're going to name this team Skill-Based Planning Team. In short, well, SKBT. Yeah, I guess. And we're not going to give them any board. And we're going to add now people to our team. So the Agnes is going to be our business analyst. So I know she has this skill, and okay, I didn't actually check. That's my bad. That's my bad because I didn't actually check from when our tasks are starting, right? Because this is telling us when we need people for the team, right? So we can see here that our business analysis starts at the 24th of November. That's what we are looking for. So starting from the 24th of November, this is what we will be using. So Agnes, come back to us. Welcome, Agnes, to our team. And we want you from the 24th of November. That's right. Then we will need a designer. Designer is going to be, I'm looking at my notes, Alistair. There we go, Alistair. 24th of November as well, at least for now. And then we will need Joey. Joey is going to be our developer. So let's put him on the team as well. We will need a user called admin2. Because admin2 has a role of tester. Right, so he's going to be our tester. And then we will also need Kathy. So Kathy will be our technical writer. And we know that we will need her as well. All right, so we have our team. Our team has members. So now if we go to the resources module, we will be able to see a couple of interesting things inside, right? So mind you, our tasks have estimates, because without the estimates, basically the resources module is worthless. It doesn't work at all. But what we don't have is our tasks are not assigned to people yet, right? So we didn't assign anything to anyone just yet. But the tasks are here, right? So we can expand this and we can see, okay, starting from the 24th of November, we have a layout of our tasks. They are not assigned. We can see that I would probably need to move a little bit more to the right to see the end of my project ending on the 5th of January, right? So this is our timeline. And if we wanted to, we could zoom out to a quarter, for example, to be able to see the whole project in action over here. But now what we want to do is, first of all, let's switch to the individual view. And of course, it's going to be the same over here. And second of all, let's turn on the skills. So if we turn on the skills, we're going to see a few interesting things. So I'm going to move it like this. And unfortunately, I need to zoom back in. Otherwise, we won't be able to see the daily numbers. And this project is definitely set around our daily numbers. So let's move it like this, and like this, and like this, and let's keep it like that for now. So let's also have a look at what we are looking at. So we are looking currently at workload, and we are looking currently at the capacity, okay? So if we turn on the skill module, you can see that it's available here as this additional window expandable from the bottom. We can see now the necessity or the requirement in terms of hours for every skill that we have now indicated in our work breakdown structure. So we can see that starting here from the 24th of November, we will need a business analyst, and basically a full-time business analyst, because this person has to be working 8 hours per day until we hit the 30th of November, from which day we will need 2 business analysts, right? Because apparently, according to our time frame, they have to be working together at least for those 3 days, right? So we have some overlapping of tasks for those 3 days. Some additional effort has to be happening over here. So one person definitely will not be enough. But after this, we can see that we can continue again with one person. For the designer, we can see that the designer's work is a little bit more spread out, right? So it's like not like a full-time job, 8 hours a day, but it's actually 2.7 hours a day. All right, we will take that. For the developer, we can see that we need like a little bit more than half of the standard full-time of the developer at the beginning for the first week since the development starts. And let's move a little bit to the right and a little bit to the right and a little bit more to the right, right? So this is the first week of the development, but then we can see that the development effort is growing to 13.3 hours a day. Here we have even 16, and then the last 2 days of the development are again estimated to be 8 hours per day, right? The technical writer has to be working more or less half of the time at the beginning and then a little bit less than half of the time. So that's not a big deal. But we also have a tester over here who again is not our choking point, definitely, because just 3.4 hours a day, right? And now you might be wondering, okay, if the top row, that one that gets colored basically, is showing us how many hours we need from a certain role or skill, why doesn't the bottom row that is supposed to show us the capacity or the availability of those roles show anything, right? It is showing zeros. Didn't we just create the team? Don't we have team members with certain skills? Why are there zeros everywhere? Very good question. Thanks for asking. So the trick over here is that these numbers the capacity numbers will be showing you values based on the list of users you have available over here, right? And you have to remember that by default in this view, this toggle, it's going to show us, or this drop-down list is going to show us individuals with tasks. And I told you at the beginning that we don't have any individuals assigned to tasks just yet, right? So that's why this view is basically not showing us anyone because no one is assigned to anything. But if we go to all teams members, things will change, right? So if you go to all teams members, we will see all the people over here. So I can scroll down, actually, let me do it like this, right? So we can see that we have all the people over here. They have no tasks, but they have the availability, right? So we can see that Agnes is available here and so on and so on. So let's bring back the skills now. And now things will change a little bit, right? So for example, let's move to the beginning of the project again, so 24th of November. And for the 24th of November, for the business analyst, we will see now, okay, we need 8 hours over here, but we already have 4, right? So it's looking not bad. We, of course, have 16 hours out of 4 only, so that's why it's highlighted in red. We have 8 of 8 over here, okay. So it starts to get some colors, right? For the next role, for the designer, we can see that we need 2.7 hours, as we saw previously, but it's actually covered based on our project team, right? For developer, we can see that we need to start with 4.8. Well, we are close with our availability, but not great, right? Especially in the following weeks. And of course, if we move on to the future to see the role of the tester and to see the role of the technical writer, we will also see similar important information, right? So for the technical writer, we are basically covered, no red over here. For the tester, we are okay as well, no red over here, right? So what are we missing? Well, we are definitely missing the developers. And let's go back again in time. We are also missing some business analysis power at the beginning of the project, right? So because of that, we now see which roles we need in our project. But also on this kind of a screen, you will be able to see, for example, that we have a designer from the very beginning of the project, but the designer is going to be jobless for basically the first 2 weeks of the project almost, right? So what does that mean? Well, that means that maybe we don't need a designer for that period of time, and we can set this person free to work on other assignments, right? That is why, so let me just check the dates. So this is starting from the 3rd of December, and the designer work is supposed to end on the 15th, right? So from 3rd to 15th. This is why, if you go to Teams, it is possible to change the memberships of the people in your team. So our designer is Alistair. So if I have a look at the Alistair, I have this availability here from the 24th, right? But we currently already know that what we actually need is for him to be available to the project from the 3rd of December, which is actually today, as I'm recording this. Do we need him for 100%? Yes, I think so. So that is correct. And then we will also add a new membership, and we will say that from the 16th of December, he's actually not needed, right? So we will say that from the 16th, he's unavailable. And let's see how this changes things. So I'm going back to the resources, and we are looking at the designer role, and now we can see that there are no more numbers over here, just zeros, right, from the beginning of the project. And only starting from the 3rd of December, we are getting the availability of Alistair, and we basically get his availability until the 15th, because from the 16th we said that we no longer need it, he's unavailable. Of course, you might want to adjust for some unforeseen things like delays in the project. So maybe we would want to have them here just in case for the 1 or 2 additional days, right? But that's of course up to the project manager to decide how much of the contingency we want to keep. And this, of course, we would have to do with all the other roles if we would like to have a perfect match, right, from one side to the other of our role necessity versus our role availability. Now, what should we do with the roles that are definitely missing some juice, right? We are missing some people over here, for example, for the business analyst or for the developer. Well, of course, to help with that, we could extend our team. So to help with the business analysis work, we could, for example, say that we are going to bring Eileen into our project because we know that Eileen is also a business analyst, right? So I can say, Eileen, we need you from the 24th of November. Eileen is joining the team. And now if we go back to the resources, we will see that the capacity or the availability of our business analysts has gone significantly up, right? So we have now 12 hours over here, 12 hours over here, and we are still getting some red numbers here and here. So apparently someone is on vacation during this day, probably Eileen, or maybe both of them actually. So now no work is going to be happening here, but we can see that now it already looks a lot better. And maybe if we rearrange the tasks a little bit, if of course it's possible from the project perspective, and it would make sense, then we can work with what we currently have, right? So of course we could rearrange the tasks over here, or actually I would suggest to do it from the Gantt, especially when you have dependencies between your tasks, and I do, so I wouldn't rearrange my things over here, but I could reassign the tasks to different people. By the way, while talking about reassigning tasks to different people, so skill-based planning, so working with those numbers is one cool thing that you can do over here, but another cool thing is now you can go over here. Actually, let's disable the skills for now. So if we go over here, we have a very long name, so that's why it's showing like this, and we hit here to give us the perfect match, the system will tell us that, ooh, we have actually two people well equipped in terms of skills to complete that task. So we could assign this task, for example, to Eileen, and that task disappears from here. Why? Well, because now it belongs to Eileen. So we have this task over here, of course, right? We could go to the next task and we could ask the system who would be the good person to perform that one. This person says that Eileen is again a very good person. For this task, we would get a suggestion of Agnes because Eileen is more busy than Agnes in this case, right? So it's better if she does the job. And for the last analysis task, which is here, we are going to be getting Eileen again as the best possible match, right? And now let's expand all rows, and we will see now that this is how the job will be divided between Eileen and Agnes, right? And of course, again, it's just a system suggestion based on an algorithm running in the background, but this algorithm is taking into account the skill requirements plus the availability of people, right? So even if the person is not fully available, it will be taken into account, and you will be getting some suggested numbers over here telling you that, for example, Alistair in our case is a perfect match because he has the right role, and Joey and admin too are also available during the time they could theoretically perform the task, but we can see that their compliance is just 30% because they don't have the role of the designer, which is necessary to complete that task, right? So again, we could assign this to Alistair and the task gets assigned to him. So this is how the skill-based planning would have to be done. First of all, you need to have a set of tasks with estimates, with requirements in regards to skill. You also have to have your people in your company, your resources, assigned to specific skills, or actually have skills assigned to them. And then you can go over here, turn on the skill widget that appears down there, and do the planning based on the numbers you will see, right? So if you turn on, just like me, the workload plus the capacity, you will be able to see what is the necessity that would be the top row of the certain skill, and what is the availability. And of course, if you choose to work with not the daily aggregation, because maybe you're planning for a long project, not like mine is like a little bit more than a month long, right? But if you would be planning for a year-long project, you could do the aggregation of weekly or even monthly and then zoom out to half a year. and you would also get meaningful numbers over here, just grouped for the time period or aggregated for the time period you choose over here. So that might be useful as well. And then you work with the team in the Teams module that I've been switching to over here to figure out which people you will have to bring, what time frame you will need those people for, and if you play around with it enough, eventually you will end up with that team that is basically covering the needs of your project plan, of your WBS. I hope it makes sense, and I hope it was helpful and gave you a glimpse into what can be done with the skill-based planning inside Big Picture. If you would be interested in learning more about this amazing tool, don't hesitate to reach out to us. All the contacts you will find in the description of this video down below. Basically, we are the experts of implementing and training in the big picture area. So we have been doing it basically almost from the beginning, since the tool has been created, and we've been working with the companies all around the world in all different industries. Tons of experience, which we are very happy to share with you and make sure that first of all you get all the important information regarding the tool, and second of all, if you also choose to help to hire us to help you implement the tool, we will share all the experience regarding the implementation as well, so that you do not make the common mistakes that we see repeated over and over again in different implementations. By the way, we also have the video training course for Big Picture available as the only entity in the market. So if you would be interested in that, also check out our webpage or just write to us and ask about it. We will have a very nice meeting during which we will tell you all you need to know regarding the tool itself, and we will of course answer any questions that you might have. So I hope it was helpful, and I hope it was also enjoyable. Thank you very much, and see you in another video.